Hello, and I bring you greetings from inside St. John's. I'm standing here at the base of the pulpit, and it's over 12 weeks ago since I was able to go in the pulpit and preach a sermon to a congregation. And don't worry, this isn't a sermon. If you want a sermon, you can go each week to our church website, henleychurch.co.uk. But for now, I just want to share with you some thoughts about some of the things we've been experiencing together recently. Recently, we've been learning some very important lessons about life and how we cope with times of difficulty. We realize that, in fact, we've got a great capacity to deal with hardships and restrictions, provided we know that what we are dealing with is both just and fair. And one of the things that makes something fair is knowing that we are sharing that with others, that everyone is carrying their fair share of the burden. It is so difficult to cope with limitations when we see that other people are free. And it's very difficult to go without when we see other people with plenty. We can cope so much better when we know that we are all in it together. These are some of the things that we've been thinking about recently, but there's nothing new about them. Year after year, we've been made aware of the needs of people right across the world. We've seen the adverts and we've thought about their sufferings, whether it is abuse, discrimination, whether it is poverty or disease. We have been made aware of the plight of so many in our world today. In all these awful situations, people have had to face a diminishing of their experience of life, and that's an understatement. How much worse it is when they look up and see others enjoying life, oblivious of the needs of others. We can all cope with so much suffering and with deprivation, provided we know that we are not being overlooked or ignored. Empathy is a very important word. Empathy is so important. It's so comforting when we hear someone say that they feel our pain, provided we believe them. And we know this to be true as we are experiencing it to a certain extent ourselves. We can cope with a lot, provided we are all in this together. That's the important lesson. Well, we hope that one day this pandemic will be over and we can get back to what we consider to be normal life. But for many around the world, that normality won't be returning because it is something that they have been dealing with for years and years. So let's hope that as we move out of this experience eventually, the lessons that we have learned from it will put us in a good position to help and to care for others. In a world where crises can flare up out of nowhere and suffering can strike indiscriminately, where people can be struck down by illness through no fault of their own, and where people have to face a life of poverty and misery simply through the luck of where they were born. In a world where so much seems unjust and unfair to so many, you and I can bring a sense of justice and fairness by recognizing in others our brother, our sister. We can respect their right for dignity, and we can do our best to share their burden through words and through actions, reminding them that they are not ignored, not overlooked, and that in some ways we are in this together. Recently, we believe that we have tasted some injustice. We have been tempted on occasions to shout, "Be fair!" And we have felt the frustration of a world divided between them and us. And the importance of togetherness has been made very clear. I'd like to thank all of you who have done so much to support one another and to support me, and to remember that we are together. And thank you again. But now, both now and as we look to the future, let us rouse ourselves and champion the cause of so many in our world who might be too weary even to say, "Remember me." Thank you.